Hey, what's up? In this video, I'm gonna show you my well-tested recipe for peanut butter cookies. These cookies are dense, chewy, and packed with tons of roasty peanut butter flavor. And they have the holy grail of peanut butter cookie texture. They're super crispy on the outside, super moist on the inside, and most importantly, not dry at all. First things first, I'm gonna take 140 grams of butter, which is slightly more than a stick, and I'm gonna heat it over medium heat to brown it off. I'm doing this for two reasons. Number one is that I'm cooking off all the moisture in the butter, which is about 10 to 15% of its weight, which is going to make the cookies have less gluten developed because water plus flour equals more gluten, which can lead to a cakier, chewier cookie. Sometimes chewiness is good, but the type of gluten chewiness that comes from too much water in a cookie is not good. It makes the cookie seem kind of tough. And the second reason is pretty obvious. Browning butter makes butter taste amazing, but also it develops all these toasty, nutty flavors that really help enhance the natural toasty nuttiness that's inside the peanut butter, and it helps make this cookie taste way more like peanut butter. It's shocking, actually. And after about 30 or 40 seconds over medium heat, you can see we've got some khaki colors in the milk solids here, but we're not quite brown yet. From here, I'm gonna cook this gently over low heat for another 30 to 45 seconds until we've got nice, dark brown milk solids like this. It should be almost chestnut colored, and that looks perfect. So now I'm gonna kill the heat and then carefully pour this browned butter into a shallow dish. You definitely can use fully melted butter in a cookie like this, and it's gonna taste great because all the butter flavors are there, but melted butter leads to a cookie that spreads a lot in the oven, and it gives you a very thin, super crispy texture, and aesthetically, that's just not what I'm going for. So I'm gonna throw this into the fridge for about 15 minutes, and I'm gonna stir it every 5 minutes just to get those solids mixed back in with the butter. A little while later, we've got some butter that is now brown and fully solid. This is gonna make a much more texturally satisfying cookie than if we had melted the brown butter and not re-emulsified it. Next, I'm just gonna scoop that in. Again, this is just about 115 grams worth. Another good reason to go closer to 140 up front rather than just one stick at 115 grams is that you're gonna lose some butter in the process. There's gonna be some that stays in the pan, a little bit that's hard to get out of the bowl on the spatula. So just make sure that you actually get 115 grams worth in the bowl. Next, I'm gonna add in a softened stick of butter. It should be soft enough that when you squish it with your fingers, it leaves a nice indent like that. Next, I'm gonna add in 185 of dark brown sugar and 185 grams of white sugar. This is actually quite a bit more white sugar than I would put in a traditional chewy, soft chocolate chip style cookie because there's a lot of fat from the peanut butter and there's actually a lot of sugar in this cookie. And if it was more heavily balanced towards brown sugar, like in those other cookie recipes that I've done on the channel, it would be super, super soft and wouldn't have any texture at all. The white sugar brings a little bit more crystallization and a little bit more brittleness to the outside that I think makes the cookie just work way better texturally. Next, I'm gonna add in 350 grams of plain old Jif style peanut butter. If you're wondering about using natural peanut butter, I think it could work, but that stuff is pretty loose. Like you'll see all that oil sitting on top and you really have to stir it to get it re-emulsified. And it's just an X factor. I'm sure it'll still make a great cookie, but it's gonna be a little bit different than what you see in the video. Next, I'm gonna add in 65 grams of white miso. This is kind of like a secret ingredient and it makes these cookies significantly better. It brings umami, it brings sweetness, it brings saltiness, and it kind of acts like the brown butter where it really helps enhance the natural peanut butter flavors and makes the cookie taste much more peanut buttery. The last thing I'm gonna add in right now is 25 grams of honey. Honey is an invert sugar, just like molasses or corn syrup or maple syrup, and it helps the crumb of the cookie hold on to more moisture. From here, I'm just gonna cream the butter, sugar, miso, and honey together for about 3 to 5 minutes or until it's gone from a dark brown into more of a light brown. And when I say creaming, all I mean is that I'm using the crystals in the sugar to help beat air into the butter, and that helps the cookie bake up with a more interesting, lighter texture. It kind of helps the cookie puff up in the oven. If you don't cream, you're gonna have a little bit more of a dense cookie, and when you have this much fat and sugar in one place at one time, it can make the cookie eat a little bit heavy. Creaming just kind of lightens the whole thing up. Now I'm just gonna give this a little bit more speed. You don't wanna go too crazy here. If you over cream this, the cookie's gonna puff too much and then collapse afterwards, and it's gonna kind of fall apart. There's just so much fat in the peanut butter cookie that you really have to be kind of careful. At this point, everything's nice and homogeneous and the butter's captured quite a bit of air. It's also a good move to come back and scrape this down. The peanut butter is pretty heavy and it tends to get pushed to the outside. Also, if you're wondering if you could make this by hand in a bowl, You can, but the butter part is gonna be a little bit tricky. You're probably gonna need to use a couple spatulas to kind of press it. You're not really gonna be able to cream it, but you can combine the butter, sugar, miso, and honey in a way that is close to this. It's not gonna be exactly the same, but I think you could still get most of the way there. Just make sure that your butter is really, really softened. That's gonna make it much easier to combine with the sugar. All right, now I'm gonna turn the mixer back on. I'm gonna run it at low speed, and then I'm gonna drizzle in 20 grams of vanilla extract and 2 large eggs. And then I'll gently whip that in until it's homogeneous. Don't go too hard here. You don't wanna whip air into the eggs because that's really gonna make the cookies puff when they bake and then super collapse. And again, the cookie will fall apart if that happens. So medium speed for 10 to 15 seconds maximum. Once I've got all that stuff creamed up, I'm gonna set it aside for a second and mix my dry ingredients. For that, I've got 330 grams of all-purpose flour, 12 grams of salt, and then 7 grams of baking soda, 7 grams of baking powder. And then I'll just jump in and very quickly whisk that to get everything combined. And if you're wondering right now, do I really need to get an extra bowl and whisk dirty for this? That seems excessive. I say probably yes, because the consequences of having your salt and baking soda and baking powder unevenly mixed throughout the dough are extremely high. And doing this only takes an extra 15 to 20 seconds. And washing this stuff is gonna be really easy because it's dry. You just rinse it off. In the past, I've kind of been reluctant and added everything in and being like, it'll come together in the mix. It doesn't. And then you have one of every third cookie is super leavened and one out of every other third cookie is like super salty, and it just sucks. Don't do that. Okay, so next I'm gonna get my mixer back over here, add my dry ingredients into the bowl. Some people are gonna be wondering about sifting flour. I don't do it. Modern flour is very, very finely ground. And if you use it often enough, it's not gonna get clumpy in your pantry and you're gonna be totally good to go. From here, I'm gonna lower the paddle back in and then very slowly mix this for about, ooh, that's too much speed. Very slowly mix this for about 15 to 20 seconds. You wanna mix this the minimum possible amount that you can, basically. You just want it to go until the flour is homogeneously mixed. You don't want to go any further than that because every second that you go beyond that, you're going to be developing gluten, which is going to make the cookies tough. And that is a handsome looking peanut butter cookie dough with very, very little gluten developed. That actually reminds me too, this cookie is super easy to make gluten-free if you're wondering. Just sub in any cup for cup gluten-free flour that you like. The recipe is not about having any gluten at all. You basically just need tasty, neutral starch to hold everything together. And gluten-free flour is more than good enough for that. Okay, from here, I'm gonna take my cookie dough and a 4-ounce portion scoop and grab just about 120 grams and squish it out onto a parchment-lined sheet tray. If you're wondering, do you really need to portion out your dough? No, you can eyeball it, but I don't make cookies that often, and for me, it's really satisfying to have them all be the exact same size and have the same aesthetic. So I like to go the extra mile. Plus, these portion scooped cookies give you a ton of additional texture. As the little ring pops the cookie out, it gives it this nice little, I don't even know what you would call that. They're like ridges. And all these little ridges right here get super crispy during the bake and give you one more layer of texture. You also might notice that these cookies are pretty freaking big, and that's by design actually. Having a bigger cookie gives you 2 distinctive textures. It allows you to get a nice crunchy, crispy exterior around the outside, and then the middle is nice and chewy and soft. If you don't have one of these 4-ounce scoops, by the way, I'll link in the description to where I got mine. It's like $5 on Amazon. It's a really, really useful tool if you make cookies every once in a while. You could also use a 1/3 cup, but you're gonna have to be careful and make sure that you spray the inside with a little bit of pan spray so it doesn't get stuck. You'll just pop it out into your hand, flip it over, and don't work it much more than that. These are very, I wouldn't say delicate, but they're susceptible to gluten formation. If you start working them too much, you're gonna make them chewy pretty quickly. Now I've got 12, roughly 120 gram size cookies. They all have that nice ridge quality on top, which I really like, and they're more or less the same size. And they're spread evenly, that's really, really important. These cookies are big, they take up a lot of space, and they'll kind of be ruined if they slide into each other. You won't get that nice texture on the outside and they'll be soft all the way through. So just make sure that they've got about 4 inches in between. From here, I'm gonna carefully move these over to a 325F oven and bake them for about 20 to 22 minutes. Also, I pulled my pizza steel out of the oven that I keep in there basically 100% of the time because in my testing, it just transferred too much heat into the sheet tray that was sitting on it and it made the bottom of the peanut butter cookies way too dark and it kind of dried them out. At this point, it's been about 20 to 21 minutes. Bake time is gonna vary pretty widely depending on your setup. For example, my oven is a still oven, not convection, so these bake a little bit slower. If you have convection, honestly, I probably wouldn't use it because it'll bake the cookies really fast and you might get too much contrast between the outside and the inside. You'll have really crispy outside, underbaked inside. As you can see though, these cookies look real nice. We've got perfect browning around the edges here, just a little bit, that's what I want. And then you've got little bits of browning here and there on the top ridges of the cookie. All that's gonna add up to a really nice crunchiness on the outside, and then you can tell because it's a little bit thick, we're gonna have a nice soft inside. From here though, we gotta let these rest for at least an hour because, like I said before, they're very high fat, very high sugar cookies, and they're not going to be stable or really edible until they're fully cooled and the starch has fully set. If you were to eat these warm, they would totally fall apart and you'd be like, hey bro, this recipe sucks. Please, don't do that. Let them cool, they're gonna set up and they're gonna be really, really good in about an hour. So we'll check back then. Ooh, I got a cooled down cookie here. The entire bite, from start to finish, pure peanut butter. It's so enjoyable. Also, there's this very subtle umami thing going on throughout the entire bite that keeps the cookie entertaining. Peanut butter by itself can be a little bit one note, but then you get pops of salt, pops of sweet, and a little bit of umami, like I said, right in the middle. And it makes your whole mouth water. Texturally too, it has this really brittle crunch around the outside, and then it's really soft and tender in the middle. Having both of those in the same bite too is really freaking good. This cookie is the full package. Believe me when I say that this is right up there with the best chocolate chip cookies that I've ever had. And I don't say that lightly. Chocolate chip cookies are one of my favorite things in the entire world, and I've spent tons of time developing my recipe for it. And this cookie hits all of the joy that that cookie does. I'm serious, it's S tier, it's a really serious cookie, and I hope you try it. As always, full recipe will be down in the description, along with a link to my blog at brianlagerstrom.com, where there will be a more detailed version of the recipe with full-on photos, more text, and if you really wanna make it, that would be a great place to go. I'll see you there, and I'll see you in the next vid.